Okay. Welcome, Mr. Agostinos Ngobe. Mr. Agostinos Ngobe currently is a fellow for Mandela Washington Fellowship and is currently in the US as at the time of this discussion. And then we are going to be learning from him about Mandela Washington Fellowship, what it's all about, how to work your way to being selected as one of the fellows. These are some of the things we are going to be learning from him. So, Mr. Agostinos, once again, congratulations on your selection as one of the fellows. Is one good news that we all love and I share it so much.
Thank you.
Of course, we want to learn as much as we can from you. Okay, so can you first tell us what is Mandela Washington Fellowship? What is it all about?
Okay, Mandela Washington Fellowship is a flagship program which was established by the former president of the United States of America. That's His Excellency Barack Obama. And the intention was to ensure that the legacy of Mandela get to be continued by raising young African leaders who are doing things in their communities where they are coming from. Sometimes when we hear that people are looking for change makers, we imagine it to be big. Maybe they've changed the whole government, they've changed the whole communities, or they've changed a set of city. That is not necessarily what it is. But how much of the impact you are putting on the other youth or the communities? How are you inspiring people? So those stories are the ones that qualifies you to be part of the program and be trained to be able to continue and even interlinking you to people to enable you continue with much strength and impact within your community or your sector.
Well, of course, we're also aware that the fellowship is in 4 categories. Can you talk about those categories?
Yes, it have got a category like where I am, which is civic engagement leadership track. We have got those who are into the public management track. It's also leadership, and there are those who are into business leadership track. I know of those 3, which are the main one. Then under that, there could be subcategories. But under these tracks, there are so many different areas which they look at. There are people who are into peace and security management. There are people who are into migration. There are people who are into conflict management. There are people who are into education, women empowerment, gender-based violence, and then different sectors of business. We can look at entrepreneurship, like those who are into innovation, those who are into information and technology, those who are into agriculture, those who are into maybe product creation, different things surrounding that. And those who are into public management, they are into policy making and the governance of different democratic systems around Africa. So how are they able to maybe engage into civic laws? How do they give the awareness to people to participate into election or voting? How do they influence the communities to know and understand the importance of understanding basic law? How important is it for the people to know their responsibilities and their rights? So there are a lot of things under that scope. Depending on what or whichever area that you are coming from, you could be accommodated within those 3 subsect the Mandela Washington Fellowship programs.
Okay, that's good. Then let's talk about the selection processes and how it goes like that. How is the application like? How do people get selected? What are the processes of selection and what are the stages of selection?
Okay, it depends on how the kind of people put in place get to establish their criteria that enables the applicants to be able to be qualified or disqualified. But the application form is very clear. I know it's lengthy, but it's clear and it's able to guide you on what to do for whatever sect that you have chosen to be able to apply through. But the application forms get to be ready. If you are to go on Mandela Washington Fellowship website, even if you were to just type in that word into Google, it will lead you into the yearly website where they give you clear information of whether you are an alumni or you are an applicant who desire to want to get to apply. So if you are a prospect applicant, there are also guidelines which tells you what to do from one step to the other. And the good thing is that this program have been into existence since 2014. And for about 7 years now, there are different people who have participated into this program from our country. The best thing that we can do is before you start with the application form, reach out. There are social medias that can connect to Facebook, LinkedIn, browse through and find out the previous beneficiary or alumni of Mandela Washington Fellowship and sit down with them, ask them questions on how to be able to tell your stories. What the people are interested in is how do you tell your simple story of changing other people's life or instilling hope into other people's lives. That is what people are interested to see or hear. So if you reach out, they will be able to guide you on how you will structure your story in terms of writings that you are going to do. And then afterwards, then you can break it down or structure your story and be able to fill in the application form with the backing up of the story of what you have already achieved. It does not need to be a big award like Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe this is what stops people. You do not need to have a PhD or a master's degree. You do not need to be running a very big business like ShopRite or any other big conglomerates, but those small things that you are doing and changing lives in the communities, those are the things that people are interested in. I believe if you write it in a more compelling way, even the selective team will be able to want to get your story be told throughout or around the world, because it's these simple stories that is touching lives at the grassroots that matters more than you having to tell us grandiose stories about how many politicians you got involved into and how much money you have benefited. Those are not things that people are interested in. People are interested in how are you able to relate to other people and how are you able to change other people who are struggling at the grassroots.
Okay, you talked about carving your story. Now you are an alumni, and okay, a beneficiary, a current beneficiary, and of course, I can see that at least you have a way of carving out your own story for you to get selected. So let's go straight to that carving of your impact stories. Now, how did you carve your own impact stories? What are the terminologies that you used? What are the techniques that you use and other things like that that makes your story compelling such that you got selected?
I think it's not a matter of getting to start with the terms. I think it's a matter of starting to know what you are doing in the community. Let's start with you. You have been leading this program and the project where you want to equip and empower educators with different skills. So you don't want people to be not productive or less productive because of the excuse of the skills. But then you come up with initiatives to be able to search for people who are making impact in different areas, and you bring them in, whether concurrently or you bring them at time where they are needed, to be able to give the skill needed for that specific audience of teachers or audience of professionals. That story can be structured in a way that, you know, you think of what drove you to want to start a program such as this, where we know that you are not getting money out of it. You are not driven by the profit. What is behind that motivation that keeps you going, waking up every day, wanting to meet strangers, contacting strangers to be able to pursue them to come and be able to deliver any course at the program that or the projects that you are carrying out. So that is the story that we are looking for, because it's that inspiration, it's that motivation that should inspire many other people, even those who are not born as yet. When they are to hear these stories, they will be able to take a responsibility to say, our communities cannot be developed by other people, but it will require our active involvement, our commitment, and our seriousness in partaking in bringing the change that we want to see. So you will be coming from the education sector, and you'll be telling us, how did you start and what keeps you going when you do not get funding, when you do not get profit out of what you do. So you telling us these reasons, this purpose, this involvement, the success stories, people who are coming back to you to say, you know, if it wasn't for that program that you carried out, I was going to give up on my career. But because of what you did, I am now able to stand and still wake up to go and teach in a classroom. So that is what makes up the story. But I think I just want to clarify something, that the program have got an age limit. You cannot go beyond 36. So 36 or 35 is the cutoff age range for you to be able to participate. I think from around 23, 25, right up to 35, 36. That is the cutoff age. But your story, know what you are doing, know the purpose, why you are doing what you're doing in the community. Tell us about the vision and tell us what drives you. That is what matters the most.
Okay. Yes, I get your point quite clear, but I still want to dwell on personally you now. Can you tell us subtopics by subtopic or section by sections how you wrote your own story? Okay, so I want it to be much more practical as much as possible. Of course, let's say your story was a 3-page story. What were the content of that story? Part 1, what did you talk about? Part 2, what did you talk about? Part 3, what did you talk about? I would love to hear that.
Good. I think you want me to become a kind of a dictator to dictate what people write, which will be misleading. But anyhow, we can break it down. First of all, we want to know who you are. That is telling us in brief all about yourself. And once you have told us about yourself, tell us about who you are as into what you do in the community. So if you tell us about what you do, please tell us what have motivated you to start something. And How did you start what you are doing currently? Where do you get the support? How do you get the activities going on? What is your vision? What do you aspire to achieve? And how are these ideas benefiting people who are into the community? So when you tell it in that way, it helps you to be able to structure your ideas to flow in a way that you do not repeat telling about the same thing all over time and again. But it will just give you the freedom to have the idea flow so that you structure your ideas. But you can tell your story in any way that you feel like it. But you must also tell us, as you are talking about how it's benefiting the community, if you have heard of feedback from the people who have participated, include it in a manner that you do not exaggerate it, but put it in a way that will make it inviting for others. Because when people want to bring you here, they do not want to bring you to expose you to a place, but they want to sharpen your ideas so that you continue with what you are doing, but at a greater level than how you were operating before you were brought into this leadership program, where you are trained, where you are exposed to people, where you are even taken to places to see other people from this side who are doing similar things than what you are doing. So this part is just a practical part to empower you and encourage you to continue to do what you've been doing. But it will become difficult for you to make up a story of things that you are not doing. So that is where the problem starts. If you are not doing anything and you start telling a story, you'll be fabricating things which will not make sense. But if you are doing something, you will be able to know how to structure it into the written form. It doesn't need to be very long. Hey, they are not asking you to write a book. They are not asking you to write a PA article that will appear in the journal. They want you to simplify your story. It does not need to carry big words. It does not need to be impressive by you sounding like you have made it, but they want you to craft your story to tell us about how do your ideas interact with the communities, and how does this interaction help the community to gain hope and to have the empowerment which they need in order for them to carry out different activities.
Okay. Do you need to have a testimonials from people if you are crafting your story? Like, do you need to add testimonials, people talking about quotes from people that you have impacted, that are talking about them talking about what you have done for them and your lives, like testimonials from probably you run a project, you run a program, and then you are the testimonials from people like that. Do you need to put it there?
If you have got certain achievement, I think there is a kind of a section where they ask you to include either publications or to put in your social media handles. I think it's important that whatever you do, you must be able to have a record of it. If these handles are given, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, if these handles are constructive and they are consistent with what you are claiming to say you are doing. So it's important that you include those links so that they can, if they wish to, they could be able to see for themselves. But they are not necessarily looking into very strict things to say, bring us a bank of things that you have accomplished in order for us to believe you. Because after you have applied, they will call you for an oral interview where you will not have your story at hand, but they will test as to whether there's an alignment between what you said you do and what you know you do.
Okay. Now, then another question that comes to mind is there always a reference that you do usually put reference like referees in your application form? And then if there is any referees that you are picking, how do you choose the kind of right referees for you for your application?
I think with that, I want to make it clear that things keep changing. They keep adjusting every year to say what they will be able to include in there. And it's only the application form that is able to inform as to what component that will be there. But I would encourage that you must be able to have trustworthy people who can be able to write authentic testimonial that talks about you, that should go along with the stories that you write, than you having testimonial going one direction and the story going the other direction, because that then puts you in a space where people get to be confused to know who they are talking about or whom they are dealing with. So you can have your testimonial prepared just in case it is asked, but know the consistency between what is being told in the testimonials and what is being told in your own stories.
So you do not necessarily need to have referees, like put the names of some persons and their phone number. Maybe they want to call them like you usually do in CVs.
I do not remember doing that. And it would be different. I even forgot about my application anyway. I don't know how. but for safety reasons, one must be prepared. And preparation, you do not choose what to be there. So prepare fully so that if in case they require it, you will have everything at hand, than you starting to look for it while you needed to submit your application form.
Then talking about preparation stuffs like that. What's your suggestion on the length of time young people should use to prepare for applying for this fellowship? Some person are of the opinion that at least for you to apply, at least you should have started preparation like 3 months before the application will come out, making your research and like. So what's your own recommendation?
My own recommendation is your preparation is to do things which you would want to reflect in the application form. Like what you have been doing over time and again, this is the preparation towards programs such as this, so that when it comes, you don't have to thumbsuck information or facts, but you will be able to have information available to give you freedom to tell your story in any way that you feel like, than you having to look for vocabularies to be able to make up for things which is not in place. So the best way I can advise is that do not prepare by just reading information to impress, but be able to be there on a ground to be able to do certain things. That will give you the power and freedom to be able to express yourself and to tell the world about who you are, not by making up anything, but by reflecting what is practically going on.
Okay, I'm almost through now. But one of the things I want to also say is talking about what young people can do. Does it also do with the fact that you have volunteered for some projects before, or you own an organization or a group or an initiative before you can apply?
Either way can work. If you are working for a certain, let me say you are working for an organization which is dealing with teachers empowerment, and you are a volunteer there, you are doing work at the grassroots and you love what you're doing, it's impacting people, you have the right to do the application and be able to see if you're able to make it. It does not have any limit. If you are working in a university or you are working in any office of the government or either private sector, and you know that your role and your story within what you were able to achieve within whatever capacity that you are, will be able to impact the community. If you were empowered, tell it as it is. If you are running a small business and you know that this this business or this initiative is changing the lives of people, go for it. So I would say there's no limit to it. Any sector can qualify, but then you should know how what you are doing is related to the addressing of community challenges. How does it contribute to the societal growth? Policymakers are here, people who are into entrepreneurship space are here, people who are into lawmaking are here, activists are here, we are having people who are having interest in political affairs, they are here. So almost everyone, scientists are here. Everyone is welcome to be able to do that. The only thing that you can do, the favor you can do to yourself, do not become the judge of your application before you hand it in. Tell your story, let it go, and let people decide whether they can give you an opportunity or maybe you can try next time.
Okay, talking of trying next time, there's no limit to how much you can apply. Probably you have applied before, the following year you can still apply again and the likes.
Apply as many times as you can. That's why I said, I did not indicate to say if your application have failed. No, you don't fail. They've just given you another chance to retell the story in a way that will be more compelling. So keep applying until you make it.
Okay, two more questions before we go.
Yes.
Some person says the Mandela Washington Fellowship, does it have to necessarily have to do with people going to US, and like, doesn't have, is it not relating to trying to brainwash them about Africa and what is it called, that why not have something like that in Africa instead of going to US and less? So what do you have to say about this? Is it that necessary for us to go to the US? Why not have it in Africa?
Well, it's a good one. The view of life and belief system drive people's lives. Mandela Washington Fellowship doesn't change you from being an African, and it doesn't make you American. What you become is your choice. There's no brainwashing. What will brainwash you is yourself. What do you really want to achieve out of this program is what matters, because for them, they expose you to what you need in your area. And then how you are going to use that back home is up to you. So if you want to use it to empower yourself and others, it will work for you. If you want to look at it as I was in the US, or what I wanted to see is the places and meeting people, and whatever I have learned, I have used it for my personal sake only. It's up to you. But the question of brainwashing I think we should be seized from our insecurity thoughts that if other people are to come into our life and try to help us, they are trying to bring the downfall. The downfall most of the time are caused by ourselves. Because if I get empowered, like the way we are empowered here, and I go back home and sit and do nothing, so the outcome of this Mandela Washington Fellowship program will not be realized by the community. And it's not the fault of the Americans if it's not achieved. It's our own fault, because we need to have a direction. We need to have a purpose why we get engaged into certain things. I've seen many youngsters who have come from here and they went back home. They started doing something and things are going well. But the problem is that youth of today want immediate change now. For instance, if I'm an activist and I'm empowered as to how to engage, and I have access to the network of people who can be able to help me get the grant support, I want to go back home and change everything at once, like in 1 week or 1 month. Things must be able to work the same way Americans will be able to work. That is too naive to approach life in that way, because American independence have lasted for how many years? And your country's independence have lasted for how many years? So you know that there's already a gap between the time we have achieved our freedom and the time they've achieved. They've accumulated all these successes over the years. We will not be able to automatically get to their level. So the small progress that we are going to make into the community, the youngster who was not supposed to go to school because of financial constraint, that you'll be able to help, and all of a sudden they become teachers, doctors, engineers, policemen, politicians. These are the change that we are looking for, because it is gradual instead of it being immediate. So being brainwashed, that is up to the person who is looking at it. It's as if as you saying that having a cell phone will brainwash you to not become an African because we needed no cell phone to be able to communicate. Our ancestors have never used them, or having the computer. But look at how much of the impact we are making by having to communicate, you being in Nigeria and me being in Namibia and now in the US for a short period of time. We are able to bring out the information which is crucial to the youth, and it will be able to help one or two people. This is up to us. What we use the information and the empowerment is up to us. Whether it will make an impact or not is up to you. Your attitude will determine whether you are brainwashed or you brainwashed yourself.
Okay. Finally, as we wrap up, for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, I wanted to just encourage young people to apply, and of course start making efforts towards how they want the application to be. So I wanted to talk about it now. Encourage or motivate them to start something in those direction, be the change they want to see and stuff. So your words of encouragement.
My word of encouragement is that I have hope for Africa. I know that we are going through certain challenges that are very painful, things that bothers us, load shed, the internet, the policies that are in place, the corruption, the looting, and it would appear that if you are to just cling on to those negative things, it will look like it's useless for you to live. It's useless for you to go to school. It's useless to do anything that is positive. But hey, look, we are not born. We are not in this world to solve all the problems. Play your small roles. So you applying for Mandela Washington, it gives you an opportunity to get the exposure, which you would otherwise not be able to get in your village, in your small town. So it also throws you into a big network of people who are doing similar things than what you, which is in relation to what you are doing. And sometimes even throwing you into a pool of network of people who have got skills that you need, but you cannot access. So you being into that platform gives you more advantage to excel. But I would say that you are not going to come and be able to get everything that you need, but they will empower you with things that you will not be able to buy with money. That is skills and how to relate with people. And that is what makes people great. Learning from other people's example, seeing things that have been in existence, things that have gone through challenges that you're going through, and then seeing how they have applied simple strategies and model to be able to move or to get over their challenges and struggle. That is the most important thing that matters the most. So what I would encourage the youth to do is that start your small influences you are having. It does not matter how big and how small other people look at it, but just be able to commit to that and pursue it to the core. And programs such as this will bring an empowerment that will make you keep going, and the fire that will not dim so quickly. So it's possible we can change Africa, but we will not be able to change Africa overnight. it will take gradual step and consistency with the commitment to the small commitments of community development. It shall be well with us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you for this session. It's been wonderful talking to you about Mandela Washington Fellowship. And of course, I know young Africans who also want to apply. One of the things we are doing also as 3D Africa is to help young people who apply for major fellowships like Mandela Washington, Tony Elumelu Foundation Fellowship, Yali Regional Fellowship. We want to see, we have identified about 10 to 15 major ones across the globe. And then we're trying to sensitize people about this fellowship and how you can turn their lives around, and also encourage young people to be active in change making, in social impacts, in community development, so that they can avail themselves for this fellowship, turn their lives around, and also continue to make impact. So
I'm proud of the steps that you are taking. Congratulations on your zeal and commitment. It's not an easy thing. I know how bad it feels sometimes going to bed knowing that you have put in so much and you are still struggling to pay even taxi fares. So you must keep on doing what you are doing. Your reward, it's not necessarily you having a private jet, but the many lives that you are touching, and see how God gets to do things. So he connects you to people that if it were not for God, it would be difficult for you to pay for the services that they are rendering to you. So that should be informing you or giving you the courage to continue doing what you are doing. And it should also give you a tip to know that there is nothing impossible, because it's not about the area where you are born. It's not about the people who have given birth to you and the family you are coming from, but your commitment to your vision. That is what brings what you need to address the needs you have.
Thank you so much. Of course, by the grace of God, next year I'll be applying for Mandela Washington Fellowship. I will apply.
Yeah. I think this year's applications are not yet closed. So apply this year, and then they review and do all those things. Then the next cohort will be for next year.
So I would definitely do that, because a whole lot of people want me to. And of course, to be very sincere, I've done a few stuffs like that, and then we will apply. We'll also encourage people to apply as well.
Right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your stay there. And of course, when you're coming from US, bring something for us.
Myself. I'll bring myself back to Africa, and I'll be resourced to the African countries and people.
Thank you so much. That's good. Lovely. Bye-bye. Thank you.